as a mom, watching my kids go through public school, at least for part of their education, the schools have become so indoctrinated with evil, really. And as we look at that as a parent, it breaks our heart, number one. But then when we see somebody like Charlie Kirk, who is standing for good and really an antidote for what is happening in public schools and universities, there's a type of loss as a parent where you feel like, oh, I had a soldier that was helping me, and now that soldier has been taken out. And so I found myself as a parent, I think maybe having a different kind of grieving than maybe my son, who's you guys' age. So how about you, Joel? This affected you quite a bit, didn't it?
It did. I told you this statement, I guess it was Monday night, which is my first thought when I sat down. The phrase that has stuck with me the most was the beginning of Trump's announcement when I heard it on the news station, which was Charlie Kirk is dead. And the something about that when I heard it, that phrase stuck with me. The rest of the tweet didn't, but that phrase, because it was so blunt and it was in your face, and it was basically, I'm not going to pretty this up. This is the statement. Charlie Kirk is dead. And there's not much to talk about other than that. But I remember my first thought when I was sitting on the couch and that announcement came over, and you could tell from the man's voice that what he was about to announce. And my head fell into my hands, and my thought was, is this what it was like to hear that they hit the second tower? Is this, because of course I was 5 years away from being born by that time, where there have been big moments, but there's nothing been just one sentence just stopped my entire life. And that entire day I just sat down and stuck to the news. I didn't do anything. I sat on the couch and listened to the news. I was walking downstairs and I saw a message from a dear friend of mine online that said, "Pray Charlie Kirk has been shot." And I stopped and I was walking in to tell my dad the news and started looking up information, and the news was already on. And I just sat there for hours. One of the reasons today is our identity is so close to our beliefs. They're one and the same. And it makes sense on some stuff. With Christianity, my beliefs are my identity. I've taken away my name and given it to Christ and said, my name is Christ. My life is Christ. He can use me however he will. But when I walk up to someone and say, listen, I disagree with your lifestyle. I disagree with what you're doing, whatever it be, because there are many things, then they take that as an insult so much. It used to be that we could walk up to people and say, listen, I think the Bible is saying that lifestyle is a sin. And people will take it and say, I don't agree with you, and we go on our ways. But we've gone to a point today where they take that as an insult. Say, you must hate me. But I'm fearful of a country where we cannot have discourse. Yeah. And I'm fearful of a country where we can't look at it. And I think all this stuff. If we truly believe that something like his shirt, socialism is very bad, if we truly believe that, then let people explain socialism and let us meet them and say, here's why it's bad. We don't shut people up for their wrong beliefs in America. We prove them wrong. Yeah. And that, I think, is an important idea that we are losing on both sides. And I think I've seen things on both sides where we said, shut them up, shut them up. That's a bad idea. It's freedom of speech. They get to say what they want, and we prove them wrong through facts, logic, and history.
I didn't really get a chance to know a lot about Charlie Kirk from his own material. I didn't go to college because I took issue with the indoctrination I found through my dual credit classes, and I'm not on social media, which means that I didn't really experience Charlie Kirk as a social movement in the same way that the rest of you guys would have. So what I've gleaned from him, I've gleaned from sources that I follow, the Daily Wire or Patriot Academy, or all these other people that knew Charlie and had a lot of really good things to say about him after the fact, and even during the fact, but wasn't quite as important to say. And so I want to ask all of you, what in his life actually shaped your worldview? Not just his death. I mean, his death means a lot to us now, but his life meant more, I think. So what about his life shaped your worldview?
Charlie Kirk, his influence he was all over social media, of course. I know I would see him all the time on Instagram. I'd see him all the time on Facebook, YouTube, everything. And Turning Point USA just started growing. He started growing the organization Turning Point USA when he was 18 years old is when he started all that. And it has grown into where it's at now. I think since his assassination, I just saw a post of Turning Point USA last night that said that they've had 54,000 plus young people, young Americans our age that have been wanting to get involved in local chapters of TPUSA or start new local chapters of TPUSA. That influence doesn't happen overnight. This is a work in progress, and Charlie started at 18 and he went till he was 31. He didn't stop there because his influence is even impacting us now, which is just a week later. But his impact will continue, and so watching his influence grow on social media and seeing how he shaped it shaped our mindset. I guess it was really interesting seeing the debates he's willing to have with people and how despicably people would act towards him simply for setting up a tent and grabbing a microphone and talking with people. And so they would accuse him of I've seen videos of people accusing him of being a fascist, a racist, bigot, all sorts of different name callings. But then there's also been people that have said, you keep interrupting me, you won't let me speak, and then they go on a long rant while he sets his microphone down and just lets them talk, and they go on and don't actually get anywhere. And so it's really interesting just seeing the conversations he's willing to have with people. And what Charlie really did for me most of all is he exposed just the corruption in the school system and colleges and universities in general. Growing up, I would hear about it, and I knew about it to a point, but it's a different thing to see it through somebody else's eyes and to experience that in that way. I myself haven't gone to college and have multiple friends that have or are going currently, and so seeing somebody that was on campus talking with people and discussing things with them, it was just so funny. He would talk with these people that I saw this one video. He talked with this guy that was an English major. He'd been going to college there for 4 years at whatever university this was. And when asked what his favorite Jane Austen novel was, he said Harry Potter. And so Charlie Kirk thanked him. He said, "Thank you, because you've now proven to us that college is a scam." And so watching his interactions with people, using his wit and his humor, but also his humility and his respect for people. Whenever they would show him respect, he would show respect back, and he would also always default to that. But I can only imagine what it would be like going to different college campuses all over the country and even the world. He went to Oxford as well, and going to different places. I can only imagine how that would change your perspective, seeing how people will hold signs, will be just rallying against you and screaming in your face even. There's people there was even guys that were claiming Christianity that were challenging him to a fist fight. It was a mess. He dealt with so much just nastiness as a human being that nobody should have to face, but he faced it willingly, intentionally, because it was coming after us. It was coming after our generation, and he simply stood in the way. And that's why he was taken out. That's why he was hated so much that they shot and killed him. They assassinated him because he was standing for truth, and he was simply encouraging conversation that people didn't like and didn't want to have. And our generation has been brainwashed over and over and over to the point we've taken 10 commandments out of the school. You can't mention the Bible. If you do, you're put in detention or even kicked out of the school, given a failing grade, whatever that looks like. There's so many things where free speech and free thinking, especially free speech is one thing. Free thinking is a whole different subject. You have a right to your own thoughts and beliefs. That is technically private. You should be free to share that. That's where free speech comes in. But when you can't even think, that is a problem. So he had a big impact in that way for me.
For me, Charlie Kirk, I really didn't follow him very much before the whole thing. And I've talked to some of my friends, they're like, "Oh yes, I love Charlie Kirk." A few of my conservative friends that we talk at night when no one else was around. And he started influencing me. And I've listened to him a lot more. I think the thing I love most about him, other than his just massive intellect, it always surprised me how well he was able to just pull out random facts and figures and everything. It was insane to me. But the other thing is I'd hear them bring up a difficult issue, and he'd look at them and just say it. And he basically made this, his entire idea is something I agree with a lot, which is I don't care if it sounds nice. I care if it's the truth. And I have to do that with the Bible sometimes, where I look at people and say, I know it doesn't sound right, but this is what the Bible says. And if it's the Word of God, then it's the truth, whether we like it or not. And if you like everything you read in the Bible, you don't submit to God, and you're not a Christian. That's the truth. And we do things that we don't like to be a Christian. But that's one thing I think I admired about him most of all, is that he would go in and say, this is what facts and statistics say, but not only that, this is what the Word of God says. And this, I can't argue that. And I loved it. I loved his truth. I can't think of the word, but fearlessness. He was so frank in a good way. He wasn't frank in a brash way. He was frank in truth. He said the truth in love. And I do believe that he said the truth in love. Like we said, I don't agree with everything he said, but I do think he said the truth in love, or at least what he thought out of all of his research was the truth.
Yeah, and I wish we had more time. We could literally be here for hours. I met each of you after the decision to run, and you guys have totally blessed my life. I have so much hope, for the future. I see my sons in you guys in a way, and I really appreciate your time today, being willing to come out here and have this conversation, and I look forward to everything you guys will do with your lives.
The youth have to be invested, and so the way to get the youth invested in the country is to they have to realize this will wake a lot of people up. I will almost guarantee you that you will see so many more youth involved in the country after this, especially, and Charlie's influence in general, but. We haven't had skin in the game. We haven't realized that all of this affects us. And so this, as a result of Charlie Kirk's assassination, is going to be that it's going to wake up America's youth, especially because, like I said, this is an attack on America's youth. And so the best way to get young people involved locally, spread the word. Oftentimes we don't hear about it. Like, we don't know that it's happening. We don't know that there's going to be town hall meetings. We don't know that there's going to be a rally here or a city council meeting there. We don't know these things. And so getting out on social media, getting it out, post it on the information boards at schools. Like, get the word out. People, if you are 18 years old or up, you can vote. And if you can vote, you need to be informed on who you're voting for. If you don't know who this is, you need to figure out who Melissa is. Like, you need to know who you're voting. You also need to know who the opposition is. Who's Jay Dean? Why do we need to know about these people? That's where I work for iVoter Guide, and that's where we come in. Is we research politicians, we research candidates, and unbiasedly give you information about them, so that you can better know who is on the ballot and who you're voting for. Being involved comes with being informed, and so you have to know what's going on, when it's going on, and why you should care. Those are the three questions that it even comes to social media content. When you're scrolling through social media or you're looking at an information board, you have to figure out, what is this? What does it accomplish? Why should I care?
In like 2 seconds.
Those are in 2 seconds. My generation's attention span is less than a goldfish. That has been scientifically proven. And so you have to realize that as you're talking with people my age and stuff. And that's definitely something that we need to do better about, is to actually give people the time of day. There's a lot of young people that will be like, oh, I heard the word politics. Nope, don't want to mess with that. Or I heard something that's bigger than myself that I don't believe I have an influence in, and so I don't need to be concerned with that. But no, every single thing in this country, every single thing in life is something we should be concerned about, whether it be politics to religion to whatever the subject may be. We need to be invested in this country because there's other people that are invested in this country as well. There's other people that are invested. There's other people that care. And so if we don't care, we're not showing care for them either.
Vote for Melissa Beckett in the March 3rd Republican primary. Political ad paid for by Melissa Beckett for Texas.